Hello everyone, my name is Lacey, this is Lieutenant Dan, and you are watching Reptiles. Alright, I have his royal cinnamon rollness with us today. He is being, as you can tell, a cinnamon roll with his little snoot hiding right here. What a handsome gentleman. Well, today, while he is being a cinnamon roll, I would like to tell you about my favorite venomous snake. I think they're so cool, they're so neat, and they're just big sweethearts. At least I would assume they're big sweethearts. I always love seeing them when I'm at the zoo. But I'm of course talking about the largest species, well, not actually the largest species of viper, a very large species of viper with the largest fangs in the world, the Gaboon Viper. The Gaboon Viper, as I said, has the largest fangs of any venomous snake. They get like 2 inches long, which is like, that's like from my knuckle here, the one with the little nick. That's a lot. That's a big fang, and they just like fold up in their mouth. So when they open it up, it's they're so cool. But why do they have such big fangs? You might be wondering. Well, their fangs are probably so big because they are super sedentary. They're very heavy-bodied snakes, and they just kind of sit there. They find a scent trail that they like, they sit there and they wait. And they can wait for like a month for a tasty little snack to run by. And when it does, it can't afford to let that snack go. So it's got these big fangs, and it just gets them, hooks right in, they can't get away, and they just unload venom into their prey. Hi, sweet boy. They just unload into their prey, right? And once they've had their meal, they can continue to be the sedentary little sweethearts that they were born to be. Now, because they are very sedentary and they sit there, they have a very slow metabolism, which is why they can eat so infrequently. They poop very infrequently, and they're not very likely to bite. Their defense mechanism is just letting out a big huff of air to sound scary. And so they're just, so you know, hey, wow, there's a big scary thing here. I'm gonna leave that alone. Because you're probably not gonna see them unless you step on them, because they're very cryptically colored. They're beautiful. I think they have one of the most beautiful patterns of any snake because it's just so intricate and gorgeous. They have large leaf-shaped heads, which, you know, is real big in the back because they got those big venom glands, so they can make that big venom yield. The type of venom that they have is a hemotoxic venom, which we talked about in that video from a couple weeks ago. With, you know, the top 5 most venomous snakes in the world, we talked a lot about venom in there, and we talked about hemotoxic venom. Hemotoxic venom, what that does is it can destroy the proteins in your blood that help you to clot, your blood to clot and stop bleeding. So it gets rid of those, it destroys those clotting factors. You have severe hemorrhaging or very heavy bleeding, and necrosis, tissue death. So while you probably you're probably gonna survive a bite from a Gaboon Viper, you're probably gonna be missing a finger, a hand. If you're very unlucky, like part of your arm, like you're losing that limb immediately, right? It's gone. It was gone the second it bit you. But these are being kept in captivity. They're being captive bred, which is crazy, right? Because when, like a normal snake, if you look like a ball python here, they'll have like, I don't know, like 12, a clutch of like 12 eggs, you know, reasonable to find them a new home. A Gaboon Viper, being a viper, they give live birth. And they don't give live birth to 1 or 2 snakes. No, they give birth to 50 to 60 babies at a time. Incredible, very prolific in their baby making and releasing. And if you're breeding them in captivity and one female has 50 to 60 little neonate babies, you gotta find homes for those babies, which is why some venomous shows, you'll see just about anyone, like a kid walking out with a pet Gaboon Viper, because some sellers are not as discerning as others, and they're just willing to, they just want to, they have a lot of babies to get rid of, so they're not going to be as discerning on who they're going to be selling a baby Gaboon Viper to. Should you have a Gaboon Viper as a pet? Probably not. Probably not. Because yes, they are sedentary. Yes, they're not as liable to bite as something like a black mamba or a rattlesnake or whatever. Just because they don't move a lot doesn't mean that they're not a dangerous snake. They could be sedentary. You could get you could get comfortable. You could too comfortable handling them, and you think, I can do anything with this snake, right? I can do whatever I want. I can move and pick them up, and they'll just be big chunky noodles, right? That is not the case. Do never get, if you have a venomous reptile as a pet, do not get overly confident or overly comfortable, because it is still a venomous animal that could cause you harm. Let's be careful with that. Now, going back, Gaboon Vipers, they are in the family Bitis because they are vipers, and they are related to rhino vipers. Yeah, with the big proboscis. Yeah, they're cool. Those are cool too, but I prefer a Gaboon Viper. But they come from Western Africa. They live in forests and scrublands, anywhere there's going to be kind of plants and leaf litter that they can disappear into. They are not endangered. They're not really a species of concern because they're so prolific and they're so good at hiding. People just kind of leave them alone. Huh, Daniel? Yes, my Daniel. And they're really cool. I really like them. Every time I see one at the zoo, I'm mesmerized, and I just have to stare at them for a long time because they're awesome. I'm pretty sure I have one in the video about when I lost my audio at the St. Louis Zoo, and I had to just like voice over everything. But they had one there, and it was gorgeous. So beautiful. So beautiful. Would I one day like to have a Gaboon Viper? I think it'd be really cool. But I'd have to go and I would want to get all the training necessary to keep a venomous animal. I'd have to make sure I have a very secure place to keep it. I would definitely not keep it in an apartment. I would probably want to have it in a house, in its own separate room with a lock, just to make sure it's extra, extra, extra safe. I would love to have one day though. But keeping venomous snakes, any venomous snakes, is supposed to be left to the very top tier reptile keepers. Don't go getting a Gaboon Viper on a whim, because that could be the end of your arm or the end of your life and the end of you keeping reptiles. But they're really, really cool. And one of the things that I think is so cool about them, like these snakes, you know, we're used to them moving in that serpentine kind of S shape to get around, right? Gaboon Vipers, they do something called rectilinear motion, which is so your abdominal muscles, like your rectus abdominis, those are like your abdominal muscles. So Gaboon Vipers, they use those rectus abdominis muscles and their ribs to like make little itty bitty. They basically walk with their ribs, and they look like caterpillars when they walk. Or not when they walk, when they move. They look like little caterpillars because they just inch along, being so cute and so cool. They're so neat. Yeah. So I would love to see more Gaboon Vipers places. Zoos is really the place I'm most comfortable doing it. I'd like to get down to Florida one day, and I would like to check out Chandler's Wild World and check out his Gaboon Viper, because she seems cool. And my pipe dream, it would be to go and check them out in the wild in Africa. That would be cool. That would be a dream come true. But that was your little blurb about Gaboon Vipers. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked that video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm in the comments. I make comments. I reply. Daniel here. He does not have hands, so he's very bad at replying. But if you want to say hi to Lieutenant Dan, you are more than welcome, because he's a sweet young man. And yeah, that's all for today, folks. Never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya.